All right, now we're full screen. All right, intro time.
Hey everybody, Tony from Fresh Pulls here. Join me and the Fresh Fam on Friday, June 17th at the Shriners Auditorium in Wilmington, Mass. for Combat FC1, a full fight card with some of the best talent in the MMA industry. Click the link tree in our bio to purchase tickets right now. Combat FC, powered by Fresh Pulls.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Burt here at Fresh Pools, sitting down with Certified T, about to interview Tim the Bear Caron for Combat FC's Fight 1 this Friday night, June 17th at the Shriners Auditorium. What's going on, Tim? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being with us. Teddy, get it going, Mr. Interviewer.
Well, I'm pretty excited to have him today. I'm also pretty excited that we are getting, I'm hoping on fight day as well, that we're getting long hair the bear, not short hair the bear. We're not planning on cutting the locks, right?
Absolutely not, but they might be a little tighter.
All right.
A little cornrows in there.
There we go. I like that. There's like kind of two different personas that, you know, when I think of you and sort of your history up here, whether that was through, just seeing you in some of the local events, or I'm even back in, I think when you fought Bellator, it was short hair, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I've always had short hair.
Yeah.
There's only been a few where I've had long.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, I didn't even recognize him when he came back with the long hair. I was like, all right, this is interesting. So we're going to just jump right in because I was pretty curious about specifically your gym. So you train out of Team Burgess, right?
Yep.
But I also heard that you have your own gym now?
I do. I opened my own spot in October. It's called Tim's MMA. So I kind of float between the two, obviously now. So Burgess, I still train there. I still have training partners there. But I bring some of them over to Tim's MMA to get some work in as well.
Perfect. And is that, obviously, you know, there's MMA on the name of it, but in the past, you've been a big sort of like health and conditioning sort of guy, right? Like that is really kind of what your personal passion has been. Is that sort of the element that you're bringing your gym to, or is it like a lot of veteran MMA fighters, guys who are looking to get back into MMA, or is it more just like everybody, all ages, that type of thing?
Everybody, all ages. I've had a few people come to me that want to fight, and I'm super excited about that, to be that side of the coach. But there's special classes for those people. But ultimately, the gym's for everybody. Your Joe Schmo's just trying to train, trying to do something different, and try to be healthy. That's really all it's all about.
Yeah, because your focus, I mean, you were sort of ahead of the curve with a lot of the weight cut stuff and just sort of it being a lifestyle, right? Like that's something that you really focused on, was never getting too far out of shape. And obviously there are times that you want to celebrate and you want to get out there, but you were kind of that's something that we're talking about a lot now. How long have you been really focused on staying in shape year round, and just kind of always being ready? How was that a more recent thing, or has that been a while now?
It's been a while. It's been my lifestyle for a very long time. Like, yeah, I do get fluffy, a little fluffier at times.
Of course.
But I'm always in really good shape. I always work conditioning. There's no like camp for that stuff. There is like, obviously I get it more intense about it. But I'm always in really good shape with that. And I'm a nutritionist. So once I know fights are coming, I know how to maneuver my numbers around and all that fun stuff. So
that must be a big help for you. Like the more I learn, I'm not huge into the fighting. I know fighting, I watch fighting, I love fighting, but I don't know like all the behind the scenes stuff. And that's one thing that I keep hearing a lot this past few weeks is like the weight cuts and how important it is to like be eating healthy and stuff like that. So being a nutritionist must help you tremendously, right?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yep. Most people go down to like basically eating nothing for a week or two. But I stayed nice and steady. It's just changing what I'm eating. Like there's no pizzas and no grinders, things like that. You just got to cut that out.
Lots of avocados.
Make the proper adjustments. No, none of that. Nope. They're very good for you, but you got to cut those fats out.
See, something you know.
Yeah. So,
Oh yeah.
you obviously, like, being a fighter, a lot of your time is spent sort of being selfish, so to speak, in terms of like your primary focus is yourself, making sure you're right for your fight. But now you're doing more coaching. You're doing, all the other endeavors. What made you sort of jump into that and take that route? Because I've heard there's like a famous saying that like once you begin coaching, you immediately become 25% better. But like that's not your mindset of like, hey, I'm going to start to dedicate my time to other people. Like, what made you decide to go that route?
It's always been a passion of mine. And seeing like my coach and like just throughout the years, just seeing the coaches like get more nervous and more excited about like fights and all these things about than I do, and that the fighters do. It's just something I've always wanted to experience. And I've started with like jiu-jitsu tournaments and stuff. I've had a couple jiu-jitsu tournaments that I've coached now. So that was like super, super exciting. Just to get into that now. Once I have a few people that want to start kickboxing and MMA, so that might be coming down probably this year at some point. And I can't tell you how excited I'm about that.
Yeah, I've coached since I stopped playing sports. Even when I was like in high school and college playing sports, I still coached the little kids. And everyone always asks like, "You're 22 years old. Why are you coaching? Why are you doing this? Like, why aren't you out being a kid?" I'm like, you know how rewarding it is to coach these 9 and 10 and 11-year-olds and have them look up to you like you're God because you can show them how to hit a baseball or throw a football or, in your case, throw a punch or throw a kick or teach them how to do the proper techniques. It's just the most rewarding thing, being able to have someone look up to you and have you show them the way.
Yep, it really is. That's a good word for it. Rewarding. That's kind of why I got into it.
Yeah, it's when I think about it, from like an outside view or outside perspective, and I think about like what fighting entails, and like once that octagon is locked, like it's you and nobody can help you. Like the work has been put in, your corner can sort of help you out. So when you get into that coach role and you end up cornering somebody, do you think that as you see them progress and they get into, do you think that's going to be more sort of anxiety inducing than you fighting yourself? Because like obviously you're used to being able to control the outcome based on what you do, right? And so it's like a completely different element there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like the nerves, everything just as coaching is just so heightened because like you said, we don't have control. We can scream at them all we want, but as long as they listen, it's helpful. But when we're not doing certain things, it's like, come on, no. And you just lose that control. But it's also fun because you get to see when they do listen or they do a certain thing that you've been working on. It's like, yes, that's what we've been doing. It's working.
I like it. So I do have a propensity to jump into some less than perfect topics, just because I think that the other side of it, we don't oftentimes get to see a fighter's mindset. So just a brief recap, and tell me if I'm wrong. I believe you started out 8-1.
Yes. Yeah, I was 7-0 in the beginning of my career, and I worked up to 8-1.
Yeah, and so things didn't necessarily go really. It was kind of in line with everything that we were going through, right? Like the pandemic didn't necessarily treat you super well in terms of like 2020 was rough, and 2021 was rough. How much stock do you put into like those losses in terms of gearing up to make your run and get back on a winning streak? Like, do you sit there and really analyze what was a deficit in each fight, or do you just work on continuing to progress as a fighter in your skill set? Like how much, because obviously every opponent brings different challenges. So some guys just focus on themselves. But some guys will look at the losses and say, this is a specific area that I can never be in again. What type of approach do you take?
I don't really dwell too much on the losses. I look back at some of them and realize what I did wrong, and fix it. Like that, like this next fight, I've made some tweaks in training to stop playing certain games. Like last fight, I gassed myself trying to play jujitsu. I shouldn't have done that. I thought I had him. I had a few submissions that were deep, but I held on too long. I just got to play. Like I'm very good on top. I tried playing from the bottom. So that fight right there, my last fight, really got me thinking about that. When to use that energy and why am I playing a game that it could work, but my better game is flipped upside down. So I got to get on top. So stop using certain moves like that, and focus on me and not defending what he's bringing. That's kind of what the mindset is there.
Yeah, and honestly, that was, and I'll never claim to be an expert or know what you guys go through the mindset when you're in the octagon, but that was something that I did see. So that's why I kind of smiled when you said playing jiu-jitsu. Is there was you obviously have confidence in in your jiu-jitsu, and
Yep.
For good reason, but there have been some times where I said he's kind of accepting a position because of that confidence instead of kind of resorting to what he does best and how that'll work against this opponent. So that actually brings me sort of to this fight, and you're a patient fighter, right, on the feet.
Yep.
And you're going up against Salomon, and he really likes to pressure you and put people against the cage. Is that sort of what you expect from him?
That's exactly what I expect from him. He I know sometimes he says he likes to stand and bang, but he likes to put pressure, and when things aren't going his way, he'll throw you on that cage. That's his game plan. I know that's what he's going to come out and do. He's going to probably throw. He throws like wide hands, hoping for a knockout, but those wide hands also set up me protecting for his attack for the takedown. So it's expected. I'm ready for it. And again, last fight, I went into the fight, everyone's saying, "Oh, he hits hard." I'm sure, like, that's my whole mindset. So I let people get in my head about it. And that's what I was worried about. And then he freaking out wrestled the shit out of me. Like, he was just so strong. I was not expecting him to do that.
Yeah.
So this time I'm expecting anything. I'm not going to let him play his game. I'm going to just do what I do best. And
That's what I keep
I'm
hearing.
very well rounded, so it doesn't matter.
That's what I keep hearing a lot in this, and it's like it's not confusing for me as a coach and like not knowing the fighting world, but like I get it from watching the fighting standpoint. Is you can't really worry too much about what the other fighter's doing. You have to worry about doing what you know how to do best, and that's what I keep hearing. The more and more we have these interviews with the fighters, is they're not worried about the other guy in the ring. They're worried about themselves, making sure that they perform to what they've been taught and coached. And that's what I'm looking forward to the most on Friday, is like all these guys that are just focusing on just doing what you know how to do best to put on the performance you know how you can put on, not worrying about the other guy in the ring. And for me, like that's bonkers to me, because my whole life in coaching is like, what is the other team going to do? All right, they're set up in this formation. They're going to run this play. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. They're going to do that. I can be prepared for it. In fighting, it's just like, let me do my game. Whatever they do isn't going to be better than my game.
Yeah,
that's
a
cool mindset.
An old mindset. An old way to go about it is because nowadays everybody's good at everything. Back in the day, people had specific things that you had to start watching for. But in today's world, everybody knows everything. Yes, they have weaker spots probably, but it's in the fight game, in this new day fight game, everybody's coming at you with everything they got, and they know it all.
Yeah, and so Is that something that you've sort of looked at? Because obviously you're focusing on yourself, but you're going to take a look at opponent tendencies, things like that. Is that something that you've looked at? Because and that's why I said it was a perfect segue into talking about your opponent, because when I'm looking, the first thing I'm looking at when I'm sort of going through a fighter and his tendencies and what could potentially happen in a fight, I'm looking and I'm saying, where's the fight going to take place? Where is somebody at a deficit? And I don't think that you're in a deficit anywhere against your opponent, but my worry was his style is something that I saw recently, a mindset that could worry me a little bit when we talked about playing jiu-jitsu and in sort of accepting position. And he's a guy that he wants to, like you said, throw hands so that he can back you up against the cage and, ultimately probably try to take you down and get on top. And you can quickly fall into the idea that, hey, I got great jiu-jitsu, so I can accept a bottom position. Is that something that you've really looked at in your training camp in terms of how you want to handle being in that position?
Yes. Like I said before, that was on my mind. The minute I walked out of the cage of the last fight, I was like, damn, I should not have done that. So you won't have to worry about that. I don't plan, unless something is just wide open. I don't plan on doing the jiu-jitsu. I probably won't even shoot submissions. I plan on rolling them over and throwing my elbows like I used to.
I love
getting that KO.
I like KOs.
It's going to be a different kind of style. I think you'll see me. I've also been training with some monsters. And my pace in the stand-up, it used to be lax. I fight off my back foot a lot recently or before. So I'm trying to change that up, and I'm moving forward, even with these bigger guys who are very good. And they've even told me, well, you're starting to put pressure on me, so that's good. I'm usually a counter puncher.
Yeah, and I actually have that written here as being a patient fighter is something that I think has benefited you, but there are certain fighters that can be a detriment. So I think it's great that you've added that other element where you can also be the hammer now, and sort of inflict that. So I did have something that I saw specifically, and I want you to be brutally honest with me and tell me if I'm just way off or if it's something that you've identified. I wouldn't necessarily say a slow starter, but I think that you give your opponents too much respect in starting the fight. And I get some of it is being measured, seeing what's in front of you. But if you identified the same thing, I feel like that has been the catalyst for some of the letdowns that you've had, especially the decisions, is that first round, the slow start. Is that something that has any legs?
You are very good at your job. Yes. That is exactly. Even me and my coach have been talking about it. I think that's what everybody's noticing when they're watching me, is that I do start slow, and that they can take that first round pretty easily from me, not doing any damage or beating me up or anything. It's been very few fights that I get beat up. I just don't win all around. So that is definitely something that we've talked about and we've been working on. Like I said, I'm moving forward now. Obviously, in the cage, things, hopefully I don't revert back to my comfortableness, but you never know. But I think if I set the pace on this guy, if I come forward, he's going right for my legs, putting me on the cage. And that's what I'm expecting. Especially, I have hard kicks. He doesn't check kicks, so he's not going to like it very much.
Well, it's funny because I was doing a write-up on this matchup, and I think the word that I used was tortured. I said that his front leg is likely to get tortured because he's not checking. He just doesn't check leg kicks. And you can't get in there against guys who can kick. And especially, you kick on multiple levels. So your head kick is devastating. But if you're not,
I like head kicks.
Yeah.
That's my UFC move in my fight game.
Nice. There you go.
But
They're effective.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're getting your leg torn up for not checking leg kicks, that takes an element away from your game when you try to pressure guys and put them against the cage and you try to drive off that leg,
Right.
it does something to you. So yeah, that was something that I saw as well. And I'm looking forward to it because I am a big fan of those leg kicks. So yeah, I was a little concerned about that first round. The idea, I think, if I was game planning against you, would be to steal rounds. So like you said, if I have one in the bag after the first round, then I feel confident if I can get to a decision. So is there a sense of urgency knowing that that's likely what people see to ensure that this doesn't go to the decision?
For me, yes. And I'm sick of the judges. So I'm absolutely planning to get, like, I don't even care if it's me. This fight is getting finished one way or the other. I'm going to put that pressure on. I've been working, the conditioning's great, so I feel great. I definitely, it's not so much pressure, but it's annoyance, I guess. And I'm sick of going to the judges. My first, I don't know, I think my first 8 or 9 fights, I didn't see a judge.
Nope.
Like, there was no judges in it. I finished I finished all but 1 fight out of my 10 wins. So
Yeah.
I'm sick of them.
Yeah, you really have, it's kind of simplified, but you could look really simplified, but you could look at your record and basically say wrong side of decisions. When he wins, he finishes, right? And for anybody who doesn't sort of watch every single fight or doesn't try to follow the local scene, there's a lot to follow. I think that is what you would get out of it. But then the tape sort of confirmed it as well. It's like when we see him at his best, he is putting the pressure on. He's not showing as much respect to his opponent by being measured, because that does put you at a disadvantage. I think where you're dangerous, somebody can look and they say, okay, I can bank around and then I can ride it out. And I think it's good that you've identified that, and that's something that you can hopefully, obviously eliminate come Friday.
Yeah.
Friday, 4 days from now. It's so quick.
So
I feel like just yesterday we sat down with Combat FC to start this.
Right? it came up super quick. And we're going to actually jump into that now, talking about Combat FC a little bit. So you've been around this area. You've been sort of a mainstay and a plug in this area for a really long time. I think you've trained or gotten in some rounds of sparring in a ton of gyms, or a number of gyms in this area. I know at one point you spent a little time in Somerville, Massachusetts, at Sit Yutong, right?
Yep. I would go down there with my manager, Tyson, who really set me up for success with going to all these big name gyms with all these big name people and very skilled athletes.
Yes, yeah, for sure. Yeah, we had one of them in here a couple weeks ago, maybe a week and a half ago. From Sit Yutong. So knowing and understanding this promotion, and we'll call it a rebranding, if you will, right?
Yep.
And Joe Cav, and just sort of how well known he is around the area.
I didn't realize how much of a staple he was in the MMA name in New England.
Yeah.
I talked to some people. I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this fight thing. This guy Joe Cav came. They're like, Joe Cav. I'm like, yeah. You know him? Like, it's the godfather of my kid. I'm like, what?
Yeah. So what was it like to sort of get that phone call, or whatever it was, a text saying, hey, we're doing this thing? Like, did that mean something to you specifically because of the area that you obviously trained in for a long time, and like what he's meant to this area?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I met Joe at the combat zone at Encore. That's where I met Joe. He ran into me, and I was wearing my wonderful Pikachu shirt. I think that's what caught his eye.
There we go.
When I did a grappling match there for him for Combat Zone, and he's like, "I really want you on my card, and we're doing this big thing." I was like, "Absolutely." Text me the details. Tyson will set up with whoever and get me whoever I need to fight and beat up. So it's going to be an awesome show. Joe is so awesome. He's a great guy. He's putting in a lot of work, obviously, for this show. And like, I've never fought at Shriners, so I'm super excited to just go in there and see what it's all about.
Yeah, it's a cool venue, that's for sure. I'm excited to see what it looks like when they set up the ring. We're gonna time lapse. We're gonna get in there and videotape them setting up the ring so we can time lapse it for the next fight and do promos. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah, we have some history like in the card industry there. They do a lot of events there and stuff. So it's tough to project how that's gonna turn into. Something on fight night.
So wait,
it'd be really cool.
I have a quick question going back to the Pikachu shirt. Are you a Pokemon guy or just enjoy the Pikachus?
I used to be a Pokemon guy. Like, I still play like some Switch Pokemons and stuff like that.
You get any Pokemons you get any Pokemon cards in your house from when you were a kid?
I still have my Pokemon cards. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you should bring them by. There's some of those cards that are worth a lot of money that you did not even know. You might have a shiny Charizard in there worth a couple $1,000 that you don't even know about.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to bring my book to you guys.
Yeah,
for
Pokemon's huge money. But anyway, going back to fighting.
So you were clearly, right? You're clearly the home field advantage guy here, right?
Yeah.
So is that added pressure? Is it good pressure? Is it bad pressure?
I think it's good pressure. I like it. I love feeding off the crowd. So it's super helpful to me. Just knowing all that support's out there, and the noise is usually for me. And it's the good noise, not the booze, but so it amps me up. It's good for me.
Don't worry, I'm a really good hype man, and we'll be sitting ringside commentating this for like TikTok and stuff. You'll hear me screaming.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. I get into it. I'll have no voice come Saturday, but I'll be screaming for all you guys.
For sure.
Worth it.
Yeah. So this is a weird situation in terms of weight for your opponent because he's fought at lighter weights. I don't have any idea how he ever made 155. Just seeing his frame and seeing the size of the dude just makes no sense. But we're not looking at a jump from, let's say, 155 or 160 up to 85, right? Because there's been time. There's been time to put on that weight. So are you looking at him as a lighter fighter that you can go in? Do you put any stock in that? Or are you looking at it like he's had more than enough time to get his body right for this weight class? It's not like I'm going in against a blown up 55er.
Yeah. I'm not thinking about the lighter side of him at all. It's been 2 years, and you can put on a lot of weight in 2 years.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Whether it's good weight or bad weight, I'm not like that. Like Darius didn't look overly big. He fights at 170. I think he's going to be fighting at 170 when he goes wherever he's going, like Contender Series, I think he said, because we chat. Yeah, it's always good.
I like it.
To stay cool with the people you fight.
For sure.
But he's this 170er, and he was strong as a freaking ox. So that's really not in my mindset. I'm ready for him to be super powerful. I'm not weak, but I just have to be mentally prepared for.
You don't look too weak.
Yeah, exactly.
You look like you're in pretty good shape. Yeah. You're ready to throw some punches.
Yeah, I was like, I hope he doesn't fall for this. Like, this is kind of the oldest trick in the book, right? It's your mind telling you, oh no, this guy's a blown up smaller guy, and I was like, he's a nutritionist, he's a fighter, he should know better, but I gotta ask him just in case.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I think if he is the smaller guy or anything, then moving forward, obviously walking him down or things like that, being more aggressive, being less patient or calculated, like we talked about, would actually obviously work in your favor down the stretch, or in terms of looking for a finish.
Right.
So this week is fight week. Fight is 4 days away. What does this week look like for you? Like what do you have any rituals? Do you have any certain training things you do? Do you have any foods that you like to eat before fight day? Like what's this week look for you? What do you do this week?
So the next 2 days, I get to drown myself in water. So it's the easiest way to water cut. So I'm at about 400 ounces the next 2 days, ounces of water.
Chew.
Yeah. And then Wednesday is pretty much, I'll drink maybe a glass. So just when I'm like feeling the cotton mouth or thirsty. Then the food kind of stays the same. My calories stay the same. And then the weight cut begins Wednesday night. So I do a wonderful bath and burrito. I wrap myself in the towels, all that fun stuff. Suck out some water, sleep a couple pounds off, and then I cut the rest Thursday morning.
Any rituals or anything that you go to that you like to do before fights?
So usually it's the OG, which is the Olive Garden.
Ah, okay.
So after weigh-ins, usually it's that. Fill up on pasta, just get fat again. And then a lot of times, like especially if I'm traveling, I'm staying home this time, but I'm going to try to make it to a movie. That's kind of like the ritual.
Okay.
We just go to dinner and then go watch whatever's new that's out.
Helps me with my pasta theory for Thursday night.
Exactly.
I was going to make a bunch. So I went to culinary school. I was a chef and restaurant manager prior to jumping into the sports guard world. So Teddy was like, everyone's going to want to eat after weigh-ins Thursday. I was like, is pasta? Is it like a race? Do everyone want pasta? Like they're going to run a marathon? He's like, I don't know. We'll have to ask some more questions. That just helps solidify it for me. I'm making some pasta for Thursday night.
That's it.
That's how I'll get the guys to talk to me after they're miserable from all the weight cuts. I'll be like, I got pasta.
Yeah, that'll make them happy.
Oh, for sure. So obviously you don't want to look past your opponent, but I'm going to ask you to project forward just for the rest of the year. I'm just looking to see what your plan was going into the year in terms of numbers of fights or where you want to end up in. If everything goes to plan, what would the rest of your year look like?
If everyone goes to plan, there's going to be no injuries for this fight. And then I'm going to do a quick turnaround, hopefully. Combat Zone's coming back next month. So hopefully get on that. I obviously need a few of my old school wins of those finishes before I can get into those bigger leagues again. And that's the ultimate goal. But my goal before this all happened was like 3 fights this year. Just that seems like a good number, especially after COVID. It was like 1 fight and then 1 fight. So it was super slow. So 3 sounded good, but now I'm thinking like 5. If I'm already done 3 by July, I can probably hit 5 by the end of the year.
Wow. All right. That's ambitious. Yeah. And like you said, finishing fights the way that you have in the past will only help that. Get an opportunity to get out injury free and get a quick turnaround, and staying in shape always helps. So you won't have to, blow up 20 pounds immediately and have to, sit on the shelf for a few weeks before getting back in. So,
Exactly.
My fun question that I always get to ask.
Yep.
What are your predictions for the fight? Give us a fight night prediction.
Well, we all know what his game plan is. He's going to try to take me down, but I'm finishing with a TKO. I don't know if I'll knock him out, but with that, because of he's so tight, he's with his wrestling, he's just going to be hugging. But I will get on top, and like I said, those elbows are going to be flying. And usually when I'm on top, people don't get out of it. So,
what round we thinking in?
What round? Is that what you said?
Yeah, what round we thinking?
It'll be the second.
Second round TKO. That's the second.
With elbows.
With elbows.
With
to be
elbows.
specific.
I
love it. So that's funny. This is the second interview we've done with the fighter. We did Rico DeSchuler last time.
Nice.
And he was the same way. He said second round TKO. He said, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do it yet. It might be with one of my leg kicks. It might be with I call it a leg punch. I watched this guy throw a punch with his legs and waist, and the other day we were there and just rumbled the whole floor. I'm like, man, imagine that to a kidney. What would that do?
Yeah, doesn't feel good.
Yeah. Oh, I was watching him punch the shells, and I'm like, God damn it! Even with that shell on, that's gotta hurt.
You don't want to be getting hit by these guys to the body. You'll be different. Just before we go, just wanted to give you an opportunity to give any shout outs, anybody that you want to give some recognition to. Anybody
that you tell us here too now, we'll probably look up and tag them in the interviews as well, just for content purposes, so that way they get some love as well.
Awesome. Sweet. Well, thank you guys. First of all, thanks for having me on this podcast or the show. Tyson, my manager, Top Game Management. Huge shout out to him. He's been working with me for a long time. He gets me these fights. I just gotta make him proud this time.
I love it.
So thank you. Thanks to my coach, Nate Lamont, obviously, from Burgess. And then 2 Savages that have been working with me that are like, one's an up and coming and one's coming back. Lowell Zangri, much appreciated. He puts in a lot of work with me. And Mike Bazanson. Sure, I don't know if you know the name, but you're about to. He's had his first pro fight, and probably 2 or 3 more fights. You'll see him in the UFC. The kid's freaking savage.
For sure.
Thank you, boys.
He's a contender series in a year. Watch. Contender series in a year.
Excellent. Yeah. Tim, thank you very much for having us. For coming in and doing this with us. We really appreciate it. We will see you Thursday night for weigh-ins, and I will have some pasta in case you don't want to go right to the Olive Garden.
Excellent. I'm excited now.
All right. I will talk to you soon. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
Have a good one.
See you Thursday.
See you then.
Bye.
Hey, everybody. Tony from Fresh Pulls here. Join me and the Fresh Fam on Friday, June 17th at the Shriners Auditorium in Wilmington, Mass. for Combat FC1, a full fight card with some of the best talent in the MMA industry. Click the link tree in our bio to purchase tickets right now. Combat FC, powered by Fresh Pulls.